I'm going to start by making an apology, and it's for this, is I was very censorious about you over the COVID scandal that you got caught up in. And in a nutshell, you got thrown out of Australia over what seemed to be, on the face of it, from what the media were being told and what was being reported, was you trying to bend the rules of getting into playing the Australian Open without having taken the COVID vaccine. And I was actually quite censorious about a lot of people at the time. And I've since apologized to some people for being too tough on them, because once it became clear that if you had the vaccine, it made no difference to whether you could then transmit the virus, clearly at that point for me, it becomes a personal choice. If the potential danger is irrelevant compared to whether you have the jab or not. And so I have, on that basis, said, look, I believe the vaccines were important. I think they saved a lot of lives. I had lots of people in my life at the time who were going through a terrible time with COVID. One of my co-workers on the morning show I was doing, her husband was in a coma from COVID. He sadly died. A friend of mine said goodbye to her mother on FaceTime, who was in a care home and died from COVID, and so on. I knew lots of people. So it felt quite personal. It felt quite visceral to me. But I was too censorious. And when more information emerged about your situation, the fact you'd had COVID several weeks before you went to Australia, the fact that you hadn't actually done anything wrong on the form filling, the fact that in the end it became a political decision to throw you out based on likely public anger if they didn't take action. When I look back on that and reflect on that, I would like to say I'm sorry for the intemperate language I used against you, because I didn't know you. I took what I was reading and hearing at face value. It turned out to be more complicated. And yeah, I'm sorry for over-egging the rhetorical souffle.
I appreciate that very much.
Let me get that off my chest.
Honesty, thank you so much. It was difficult times and you know, state of emergency globally. I understand, you know, we've been through hell globally, all of us on this planet, and you know, the only thing I would add, not to really dig deeper into this whole situation on the COVID and vaccination, is that I was never a proponent of anti-vax or pro-vax. I was always freedom of choice. So and that was misinterpreted. You know, I was proclaimed to be, you know, one side or the other side or so forth. It's either black or white, and I said, you know, it doesn't need to be that way. As an athlete, as someone that, you know, takes care of the integrity of the body and understanding of obviously doing my research and understanding that I'm not a threat to anybody and I don't need to do it myself. And I've been through 2 or 3 times I had COVID in like a year and a half. So I had all the antibodies, etc. So anyway, long story short, good to see you here. Good to finally meet you, and I appreciate and I respect the fact that you know, what you said. It speaks volumes about the person that you are.